Greetings, my name is Hardik Raj and today we will be discussing the problem Mutated Minions. This problem was asked in ACM-ICPC Chennai site online coding round in 2015. This is a cakewalk problem and the prerequisites are modular operation. Now let's look at the problem description. Okay, now let's look at the problem. This is just some story. You can read it if you want, but let's move on to the problem. Okay, each minion has an intrinsic characteristic value similar to a DNA, which is an integer value. So integer being the keyword. The transmogrifier adds an integer k to each of the minions characteristic value. So basically, we are adding this integer k to the to an integer which is supposedly the intrinsic character value of a minion. And Gru knows that if the new characteristic value of a minion is divisible by 7, then it will have Wolverine-like mutations. Given the initial characteristic integers of n minions, all of which are then transmogrified, find how many of them become Wolverine-like. So in the question, we are given n minions, and each of the minion has some intrinsic character value. Let's call them A1, A2, A3, and then an. So if there are n minions, then there are n integer characteristic values, intrinsic characteristic values. And what Gru is doing, he is basically doing something like this: a1 plus k, then a2 plus k, similarly a3 plus k, and an plus k. Now he wants to know, after doing this operation, or something like this, a1 becomes a1 plus k, a2 becomes a2 plus k, a3 becomes a3 plus k, and then an becomes an plus k. Now he wants to find out how many AIs are divisible by 7. We want to answer this query. So for that, there is the number of test cases in T, and for each test case, I'm calling the solve function. In this solve function, n represents the number of minions, n is number of minions, and wait, what happened? Yeah, and k is the, wait, was there some name? Okay, it's some value that we add, some value that we add. Okay, so we take an input, and this count represents how many of these new AIs become divisible by 7 after adding 7 to each of them. Sorry, after adding k to each of them. So take input x, this is AI, and now we will do x is equal to x plus k, and this is equivalent to AI becomes AI plus k. Now we check if x mod 7, that is, if x is divisible by 7, then the remainder will be 0, and if that is the case, we just increment our count and we just output the final count. Let's try to submit this. Oh yeah, before moving on, let's figure out the time complexity. Okay, input takes constant time, and we are calling for n times. We are doing one addition operation which takes constant amount of time, and this x mod 7 remainder, it takes some time, but we can consider it to be constant. So the time complexity is basically O of 1 per test case, that is constant time per test case, or sorry, no, O of n in each of these operations, and there are n operations. So n into 1. So O of n per test case. Yeah. Now let's try to submit this. Yeah, as you can see, this has been accepted. I hope you understood the question. It was nice explaining this question, and see you next time. That's it for this one. Like the video if you understood the concept. In case of any doubts or queries, please feel free to drop a comment below. Do try and submit your own solution on CodeChef after watching this tutorial. If you are interested in competitive programming and want to learn and master data structures and algorithms, then CodeChef is a one-place destination for you. Every week we post CodeChef problem explanations, frequently asked interview problems, conceptual videos on various programming topics, and also conduct live problem-solving sessions. To stay notified of our upcoming uploads, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon below. See you next time.